welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am so excited to bring you guys a brand new, very special episode.
World Series edition.
Welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I'm Kyle, joined by my co-host Michael Hall.
What up, what up, what up?
We are less than 24 hours, a little bit more, 12 hours more than from the Nationals, clinching their berth to the World Series the first time in franchise history.
Got 4 curly dubs for that ass.
This is absolutely amazing. We have watched this team since the very beginning. I mean, I feel like it was yesterday that we were in our construction training and waiting for the first pitch of the first game. You remember that? Like we weren't supposed to get out of training till 8 and game started at 7:30 and we were saying, dude, I hope he lets us out early so we can catch that game. Then from there to the colossal dumpster fire that turned out to be the bullpen and the injuries, going to falling to 19-31, 12 games under 500, completely out of the playoff race. I think it was like, what, a 19% chance they had.
It might even been less than that.
To be able to make the playoffs. And not only do they do that, they are now to the World Series. Yep. I don't think, as baseball fans, as DC fans in particular, I don't think we've ever seen a comeback like this. I mean, does any comeback come to mind like this?
Only thing I could think of was
the Giants in 2008.
Yeah, I mean, even like the Redskins, the year they started, what was it, like 0-8, and ended up finishing 8-8 that season. Like,
eight straight wins.
That's, I mean, I guess the RG3 and the Kirk Cousins rookie year run where RG3 goes out, I mean, on that 7-game winning streak to get into the playoffs, but still nothing bigger than 19-31. Everyone counting you out. Everyone calling for Davey Martinez and Mike Rizzo to get the axe to be fired.
Right.
Get him out of here. And here we are. What is it? What was that? May, June, July, August, September. 5 months later, the best team in the National League. Let's go.
Absolutely incredible to watch what has developed in front of our eyes. The clutch hits. It's really funny because I think I didn't talk to you about this yet, but Geraldo Pera had a at-bat last night, and I thought it was the difference in the game last night. And what I mean by that is when he stepped up to pinch hit, at that time, the Nationals were in a lull.
You know, it's crazy. I said the same exact thing.
The crowd was very quiet. They weren't into it anymore. The team kind of looked like they had the wind knocked out of them just a little bit. And so Parra comes up, and the whole stadium goes crazy because of the baby shark.
Yeah, crowd gets juiced up.
Not only that, but at a time where it was the lowest possible, we thought that the Cardinals are going to come back and get it. Parra gets a single.
Yep.
And I thought that was the biggest point in that game yesterday because it showed the Nats it isn't all doom and gloom. Yep. There is some positivity still here. We can get this done. I thought that was the most crucial hit. I know it had nothing to do with the game in the scoring, but I thought it had to do with it a lot.
That would have been 3 up, 3 down. They would have been right back to getting that bats. They were already getting the bats a little bit hotter. So and you think back to it, when they brought Parra in against the Dodgers, his first game there, what does he do? Comes out, game-winning grand slam. So it just only would be right that Parra, one of the most beloved, brought in Nationals this year, would come in and swing the momentum right back to the Nats. Even though it was a little base hit in the grand scheme of things, not really a big deal, but it's just one of the things we needed.
Yeah, and a lot of credit to Corbin, who pitched a really good game last night. The first pitcher in MLB history to record 10 strikeouts in the first 4 innings. Obviously, he fell off there at the end, but look, the Cardinals are a good team. When they face you 2 to 3 times, they're going to start getting some hits off. Ramirez, that team, the Cardinals, is a very good team. But I felt like they ran into a bandsaw.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't matter who the Nats were going to play in this divisional series, and the better team won.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, if you go back all the way to this last stretch run of the playoff race, they've knocked out, I think it is
18 of 21.
4 teams in this last in this little stretch. They've won 18 of 21 games. They knocked out the Phillies and the Cubs in the regular season by kept winning games.
Yep.
They knocked out the Brewers in a wild card. They knocked off the Dodgers. Now that's 5 teams. Knocked off the Cardinals. I mean, you can't write any better than this.
No, you can't. And the fact is, the Cardinals did to the Braves what the Nationals just did to them last night.
Yep.
They just completely boat raced them in the first inning, and it was wraps after that. BK, my sister's boyfriend, actually put out a tweet. He tweeted at me because I was saying, I can't believe this is happening. And he tweeted back at me and says, why? We're up 7-0. We're good to go. And I told him, no. No, I'm about to delete you. He was like, why? What the hell? It's like, you don't mock the baseball gods. You never know. Just like the Nats got those 7 runs in 1 inning, the Cardinals could come right back and score 8 in 1 inning. that's the way baseball works. You don't want to talk about it being a victory already because that is not the case
Hey,
with
look,
baseball.
I was one of the people that was like, oh, 7-0, we got this. And then as the game kept going, I was like, I probably shouldn't open my mouth.
Right.
But, I mean, I always had faith they were going to pull it out.
Even
but
I told you, I said, stop, Mike.
Yeah.
Please stop. Please
I
stop saying
laughed it off. I laughed it off. I was like, man, we got this. And then by the 4th or 5th inning, I was like, oh, man. I probably shouldn't have said we got this. But I mean, at the end of the day, I knew they would kind of pull it out just because like the momentum was already swinging their way anyway. So just congrats. Hats off.
And this was a total team, organizational victory to bring the Nationals as a team here. You have to think about getting Trey Turner back, getting Parra in the trade deadline. Asdrubal Cabrera, who's coming off the bench with 90 RBIs, which is just insane. Corbin really doing well. Max Scherzer doing what he does, even coming back from an injury, which is really hard to do. He's still kind of keeping up with what he's done. But Strasburg taking over this ball club.
I mean, Howie Kendricks in this whole playoff stretch just
you could
killing
literally talk about every single Nats player and talk about great things that they did to get the team.
Everybody's contributed. Even the bench with like the whole like getting them ready, riled up, dancing in the dugout when you got home runs, like just the all around support. Just
even look, even at Strasburg, who his bunts in Game 3 were advancing runners playing small ball, something the Nationals have not done in years past. And Corbin last night laying down a great bunt to be able to move the runner over. I've never seen anything like this where all cylinders are moving. They're firing. There is no stopping this team. The only thing that can is time. And I am worried about this because they have a week until the first World Series game, and they don't know who they're playing. But the fact being is, I think that this time off could take them off the rocker just a little bit, which would even the World Series. Because I think if the Nats go into the World Series playing like they are, it doesn't matter who the AL puts out there.
It would be. I would give it maybe 5, maybe 6 games. I would get the Nats winning in, but with the week break, I mean, it's literally going to be a whole 7 days. Yeah, it's going to like not be as good for the team, but like pitching wise, it'll be good to get the arms rested. But like you said, hitting wise, Kendrick's in a groove. Juan Soto's in a groove. Pretty much the whole team's in a groove hitting wise. So they might take a step back on that, but the way they've been playing, like as of the past like month and a half, I can see them getting right back on track. So.
Yeah, and we were talking about this morning. To keep the Nationals hitters on their toes, to keep them in the gel, I was thinking, like, can they run scrimmages? And could you possibly, I'm not sure the rules of Major League Baseball, but I'm not, like, are you allowed to go get contracted pitchers that are not on teams to say, hey, I want you to come pitch 100 miles, 100%, give everything you got against my guys. I just want to get them continuing, get ready to be seeing pitches. And I don't know if the MLB would allow that, but I think that would be a smart idea. And we listened this morning to Joe Girardi on 106.7 who said they can have game simulations go on for this type of thing. But if you see practice pitches at 60 miles an hour at a time, when you see a 95 mile an hour next Tuesday, your eyes are going to take a little bit to get adjusted.
Exactly.
And it sucks because they do have to wait a little bit, but the fact being is we will take a World Series berth over that wait any day of the week.
I'd rather be waiting a week and have the World Series berth than the latter of, say it was vice versa, and they just got swept out of the playoffs. DC would be it's already gloomy outside. It'd be even more gloomy.
Right, absolutely. Now, looking ahead next week, now the Nationals are in the World Series. There's only two different teams they could play. Either the Major League champions in the Houston Astros or the New York Yankees. Two teams, very good. They have offensive weapons, but the difference between the two is pitching. Astros have Verlander, a world champion, a Cy Young winner, a legit veteran that can stifle the Nationals lineup.
Maybe only one of the people outside of Strasburg, his own teammate, that can probably rival Max Scherzer for pitch, inning for inning. Yeah,
absolutely. The Yankees, they have a really good bullpen. It's better than the Nationals bullpen, obviously. It's not really hard to say that. But the fact being is, they're hitters. They had 6 guys this year that struck out more than 100 times. The Astros only had 2. So the fact being is, with these strikeout pitchers that the Nationals have, with Scherzer, with Strasburg, with Anibal, this is what you want. You want to go against the Yankees. You want them swinging all the time because they're going to strike themselves out. The Astros, they're more like the Nationals in a way with offensively. They string hits out. They grind at bats. They make you work the count.
They make your pitch count go up. They don't really strike out as much, obviously, like he just said. So definitely the better matchup would be the Yankees, but like you just said, it's a buzzsaw right now. So whoever you put in front of them, I feel like it's gonna go to distance, probably 7 games, and I just think the Nationals will pull it out 4-3.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I like to go with the way luck is going because the baseball gods go where the luck goes.
Yep.
And the Nationals have been recipients of that throughout this season and this postseason. And so I'm gonna piggyback off that. I think you're right. The question being is how long is it going to take? Are the Nationals going to need to use Max Scherzer twice, Strasburg twice, or Corbin twice? That is the difference maker there. I think the Nationals do win this series, and I think it's going to be very similar to the way the Caps shelled out the Knights back 2 years ago. I think there's going to be a 4-1 slam dunk of the Nationals taking this thing, and Bryce Harper's going to cry himself to sleep every night.
How great would it be to end this whole crazy up and down roller coaster, great season, for them to close it out at home, in National State, in the park, down in Southeast DC, like all the red flags waving in the air, like, man. I might actually get a little alligator.
I'm not going to complain about it, but with the Caps, they won in Vegas. Mm-hmm. Caps fans had to party here. Mm-hmm. If the Nationals can win the World Series in DC,
oh man,
I might not be able to work in DC for a couple days. To be perfectly honest, where we usually work.
You think they went crazy in Philly when they won a Super Bowl?
Right,
man. We're not gonna be eating horse shit. We're not gonna go that far.
Nobody's gonna be eating horse shit. No, I'll tell you what. I will eat horse shit. The Redskins win.
Oh,
because the Redskins are a dumpster fire a lot farther down the line than the Eagles
ever were. Will Ferrell. We're going streaking.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I was actually gonna be naked for this if you weren't sitting next to me. If it was a phone call, one of them, I would have been naked. I'm not.
Porky Pig in it.
I would have been naked. All you would have seen is the stash. That's all you would have seen. But to be completely honest, this is what this area needed at this time. With John Wall being out with the Wizards for an extended period of time, with all the hope that we had for the Wizards, that being gone, and then the Redskins, Dan Snyder doing what he usually does, just waking up and ruining everyone's lives. The Redskins are distraught right now. They're 1-5. Yeah. They don't look like they have a lot of future ahead of them going the direction that they are. But this is what this city needed at this time.
Needed a jolt.
They did. And look, we've had the Caps, but the Caps got knocked down the playoffs. It's kind of those things where, look, they got the Stanley Cup. Yeah. We don't need them to make playoffs again. And so the city needed something. Yeah. Just bring us out of the depths. Just show us that you care. And I think Davey Martinez, Anibal Sanchez, Parra, and Asdrubal Cabrera, I think those guys in particular deserve a bunch of credit for the cohesion, the camaraderie, the environment that is at the Nats club right now.
I mean, if you even go a step lower and say Brian Dozier, who was almost an everyday player in the beginning of the season and midway through the season, they bring in Cabrera. Obviously, Howie Kendricks gets healthy again, and he's still in the dugout partying, dancing. He's like literally like the glue that keeps everyone together.
Right.
If you could say that. But.
Yeah, Brian Dozier, one day at a time, is ruining everyone's thought that white guys can't dance one home run at a time. That dude loves him some Spanish music. I love me some Brian Dozier,
my man's
too.
out there twerking around the dugout and everything.
It's so great. It's just this team. And this team, they just have something special. And I was trying to think of it on the way here. And it's as much fun to watch them play baseball as it as much fun is to see them with each other, to see their friendships and to see how much they do care about one another and the fun that they're having. It's fun to watch that.
I mean, you can listen to the interviews after the game, and like, I guarantee almost every single interviewee said, I just love being around these guys. Like, the clubhouse is fun, like fun. I love being around these guys. Like, cohesion is a big thing in sports, and as you can see,
it's really blossomed them. And because I've been looking, what is the difference between this Nationals team and years past? And the only difference that they have, honestly, legitimately, you could say Bryce Harper all you want, but Juan Soto replicated Bryce Harper pretty well and did better. Yep. But the fact being is, the only difference between the teams is the cohesion, and is the relationships.
They've been peaking at the right time. Like teams in the past, they've won the division, so they kind of sit players and take a lax mode into the playoffs, if you will. But this year, like I said, 18-21, the last 21 games, 18 wins, peaking at the right time, just destroying the ball. Even if they're not destroying the ball, just the pitching, the defense, even the bullpen with Tanner Rainey last night. Like
Tanner Rainey throwing 99 and 100 miles an hour on a dime on the corners of the strike zone. That is so hard to beat.
I mean, even Hudson coming in, getting the bases loaded, getting out of that jam.
That was a huge point in the game last night. I was flipping out. I didn't know if I should turn it off. I didn't know if I could watch it. I was like, am I ruining this? It was good to see them pull out, especially Hudson, because I feel like Hudson needed that.
Yeah.
Like for confidence-wise, going into that 9th inning. He needed to get out of that full bases loaded. I think he was struggling there. He looked scared. And when I saw him drink from the Gatorade before he walked down the 9th, I thought to myself, I was like, damn, he looks nervous. But he had it. And good for him because he's had a long road in front of him. But one of the biggest quotes from the interviews that you had just alluded to was Howard Kendrick saying, this is the most fun he's ever had in his career.
At 36 years old, he's been in the league for like, I think they said 13, 14 years, something like that. Like, so for that to be like, for him to say that, it's just like, that speaks volumes, obviously.
And I've talked about this ad nauseum, just over and over again, wanting guys, especially with the Redskins, but in DC sports, loving this area, loving the team that they're on, wanting to fight for the city. And this is what we got. We got it with the Caps, and we got it with the Nats. These are two teams that really care about the area. And Rendon in particular, he wanted to see some things out of the Nationals this year. Obviously, one being money, obviously everyone. But two was the fan base. Yep. He wanted to see how the fan base was going to react because he's been critical of the fan base, and he's been asking more of the fan base. And I think the way that we as a whole have responded to them being in the playoffs and stuck with them this whole time, even when things were low, I think that he's going to stay now.
I mean, I'm hoping that he does. I'm hoping that all this little extra revenue they're generating for the World Series and the playoff run will go to his contract. And I hope that the Lerners up it by however much million that they need to up it. I hope that Strasburg opts back in, give him a little bit of pay raise because he clearly deserves it. Mom, one thing about Strasburg, though, I will say this. I'm not even trying to jinx it. I'm just saying, like, every year leading up to this, he's always been injured every year, missed whatever X amount of games. Never been this confident in himself as, like, a pitcher. But I don't want this to be, like, the one anomaly year where he's healthy all year, kills it all year, leads, like, the NL in strikeouts, stuff like that.
And then leaves.
But I do think that he's turned the corner. I think the cohesion in the clubhouse made him kind of, like, get a little bit of confidence in himself.
Yeah, because Strasburg kind of seems like a recluse, you know?
He's like an introvert.
Right. Yeah, exactly, 100%. I feel like this clubhouse has forced that out of him. I mean, I saw videos last night of him chugging out of the trophy.
I mean, he was dancing around he hit a home run and was dancing around in the dugout. Like, if you just saw Strasburg a year or two ago from now, you would have been like, Strasburg's dancing and smiling?
Right.
Like, what?
Exactly. You are 100% right about that. And the fact being is that nobody's really talked about Scherzer pacing in the dugout literally every single game.
Talking to himself. Yeah. Just like, the man's always juiced up.
He's just, it's like he does coke all the time. But he's not on coke. It's just Max Scherzer.
It's on them Bud Heavies.
Yeah, and it's amazing just to see this team. And I know we can talk about it all day, and it's not going to change anything. But the fact is, I'm glad that I was able to experience this season with you. Yep. And to be able to gauge this team throughout the season, the highs and the lows, and to actually see it blossom into something amazing is something I've never experienced.
If you want to think about this, if they can get Rendon back, keep Strasburg under contract, if he doesn't opt out, this could be the start of a dynasty.
Oh, no, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
We got the young players, mixed in with the nice veteran players. I was listening to 106.7 earlier, and they were pretty much saying that, like, other players around the league, they see the culture. They see how much fun they're having. They want to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. So, like, DC could be a hotspot for, like, elite top talent baseball-wise. So, it's just nothing but up from here, I feel like.
Yeah, and from the owner's perspective, I know it's been widely known that they did not want to go into the territory of getting luxury taxed. And what that means is if a baseball team decides to go over the salary cap, the third year that they do that, they get a really harsh penalty. Yeah. It's really, really a big penalty.
I think it was like 15% extra.
Yeah, extra on top of it. So a lot of ball clubs don't want to do that. And the Nationals are on that third year, which would obviously explain their stance on Anthony Rendon because they're going to have to pay Soto and Trey Turner. They're going to have to pay possibly Strasburg or Scherzer or Corbin later on down the road. But the fact is if they win the World Series, I think that could change the Lerners' mind of taking that luxury tax. I think they would take that 15% with ease, and they'd want to keep this clubhouse together as much as they can.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, even if they, like, don't really, like, up it as much, just take some of the deferred years off of it. Like, reduce it from 9 to 5 years. Like, just more money at a faster rate. pretty much.
Right, and just in case nobody knows, I'm sure everyone does, but in case you don't know what deferred money is in a contract, basically what the Nats do is they push cash aside and say, we have to pay you this cash after your career's done, up to whatever year's amount. Like, for example, Bryce Harper, I think it was 30 years after his contract ended, they would pay him, I think it was like $20 million or something. Yeah. They offered Rendon a contract, and it was 9 years deferred, so they'd have to pay the rest of that deferred money within 9 years of him ending his contract, which isn't that as bad as the Harper deal, but the fact is, just take away the deferred money,
just
please.
Google Bobby Bonilla. The Mets are still paying him. Like
still paying
15,
him.
20 years later. So
but isn't it like 20 grand or something like that? It's like 20 grand every year.
Something like really like small and cheap, but it's just like.
Oh wait, maybe it's a 200 grand every year.
Yeah, I think it's something that's 200 grand, but like it's still like cheap as far as like baseball money.
Exactly.
But, I mean, the man retired in like '99.
And I don't understand why ball clubs want to do that. To be perfectly honest with you, it doesn't make any sense. But the fact is, hopefully this can bring the club back because Anthony Rendon has showed us time and time again. He is as consistent. He is going to be there like taxes. He's going to show up in big times. One of the biggest things I took away from last night's game, was he was calming down Davey Martinez. And he was telling him to calm down. Which usually is the other way around. It's a 60-year-old man. Like, geez. And that's just Anthony Rendon. Just calm, cool, collected at all times. And it shows in baseball. It just shows that he's able, in clutch and very stressful situations, that he's able to execute and do well.
He's like the only person I know that'll strike out, which is very, very rare for him to strike out. But the only person that'll strike out and walk out of the batter's box smiling about it. Like, you know what? I'll get him next time. And you know what he does? He comes right out next time and literally gets him. So,
yeah, and that's just Rendon. And you know that he's going to see pitches. He's going to give it his all, and he's not going to swing at dumb strikes, dumb balls.
No pun intended. He's the cornerstone because he plays third base. He's the cornerstone of this whole team, this whole franchise.
Yeah.
And obviously with letting Bryce go last year, everyone was kind of mad about it, but saw it coming. You can't let go of Rendon.
I was mad about it, but the fact is I kind of realized something when the stat you and I had actually been talking about is that every year in the MLB, the top 10 teams in batting average actually don't make the playoffs. So what does that tell you? Pitching gets you to the playoffs and pitching wins, which is why they didn't want to pay for bats. Exactly. They had bats sitting here with Anthony Rendon and Juan Soto and Trey Turner. They didn't have to, but they knew they needed to allocate that money to go get Patrick Corbin, which they did during the same time that Bryce Harper was doing free agency.
Look how the dividends paid off.
And it really shows. And it shows. And a lot of credit to Mike Rizzo for seeing what fans don't and seeing reality for what it is. And so that being said, it really worries me about Rendon because that would make sense that they would go away from Rendon and go towards pitching. But I just think that this is our Chase Utley. I think Anthony Rendon is going to be a consistent and just a baller until he's gray-haired and he's about to retire at the age of 45. I think that Rendon is our Chase Utley, and I think we need to do everything in our power to retain him.
I hope so.
He just has that about him. He sees pitch counts. He puts the barrel on the ball, and he just puts the ball in play. He gets on base.
Pretty much. Whenever you like and share this, tag the learners and send this to them.
Yeah, please do. I really appreciate that. It would help me out a lot. Look, I wish we could talk more about the Nats, but we'd be beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Let's move on to next Tuesday. It's gonna be a lot of fun, everybody. But let's talk a little NFL. We've taken some weeks off here. It's been really busy for us. Yeah. We haven't been able to do a podcast every week because of work. It's been really brutal for the both of us. But the fact being is, Mike, the Redskins are 1-5.
We finally got a win.
They're holding the top 5 picks. Something you and I sat here and said there was no way that was going to be possible. There's no way possible.
Technically, it's still not. It's still
it's still up in the air.
Up in the air, but I mean, the way things are trending, it's going to be a top 5.
A lot of things have happened since the last time we've recorded, Mike. And Jay Gruden has been fired. Yeah. Which I don't think is the correct move. I thought they did it ass backwards. I thought they should have fired Bruce and seen if that was a possible change in culture, if that was a spark. And then if nothing changed, fire Jay at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. Then get a new GM next year that can then hire his head coach who he wants to run your franchise. But that's not the way Redskins do logic.
That's what normal NFL teams do.
Yeah, and that's just not what the Redskins do. The Redskins want to go with Adrian Peterson over Jay Gruden, which is essentially what they did. They said, we're tired of Jay and his ideas. Yeah. And pointing the blame on him, acting like he was not a leader enough to lead these grown men to win games. And I love what Chick Hernandez said. It was in reference to the article that got released saying that Redskins teammates were saying that during Jay's tenure, that guys were on their phones during practice
on
and
Snapchat.
and on
comparing
Snapchat,
Instagram likes,
and basically saying it's Jay's fault. Jay was running a clown house, and that's not what Bill Callahan is going to do. Well, Chick Hernandez had a great quote coming back and saying, "These are grown men. You have to tell a grown man to put his phone down during practice?
Exactly.
That shouldn't be a thing."
Exactly.
But the fact is, I don't think Jay Gruden had the authority to even yell at players. Do you guys remember Brashad Breeland? When Bruce Allen walked down to the field, grabbed Scott McCloughan and said, "Don't talk to him," and pulled him to his office. You can't be a disciplinarian there in Redskins because Dan Snyder's a disciplinarian. He's the one that lays down the law.
Nobody was complaining about how he's not a disciplinarian whenever we're winning divisions, going to the playoffs. So it's like, come on.
He's letting grown men be grown men, and the fact being is some grown men took advantage of that.
You got to hold yourself accountable at some point.
Exactly, and that accountability is where the Redskins need it most.
Yep.
Because what you heard with Bruce Allen's press conference 2 weeks ago was it's the fans' fault. The fans are selling their tickets. They're trying to make money.
Damn good culture.
Yeah, they're trying to make money. They're selling it to opposing fans. Are you guys selling tickets to opposing fans too? Oh, okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
The accountability of the Redskins, and I know the Nats just made it to World Series. This is supposed to be all fun and games. But this is damn near pissing me off right now. Josh Norman last year coming out, going against the fan base saying, "We don't see anybody at home. We have better at away games." Then Bruce Allen saying, "You guys are selling." Stop blaming us.
Put a better product on the field.
The only thing you should blame us for is to continue to give you fucking money.
Exactly.
That's what you should be blaming us for.
Seriously, though. Seriously.
At some point, it's laughable. Vinny Serrato had a better winning percentage at this time in his career as a GM of the Redskins than Bruce Allen does.
And that's when we were bringing in overage, 30 plus, 40, like almost damn near 40-year-old players
and
on ridiculous contracts.
It's so funny because we heard all of these reports coming out when Scott McCloughan was on his way out that, Bruce Allen was really angry that the fan base was giving so much credit to Scott McCloughan and not the rest of the team because Scott wasn't really doing all that much, guys. Well, the fact being is, if you want the credit when it's going good, you better take the credit when it goes bad.
Exactly.
You can't have it one way, dude. It's a two-way street.
Perfect example. Everyone came out and said, the Redskins killed the draft. They had the best draft in years, and oh my God, a top 5 draft this year, like blah, blah, blah. What did Bruce Allen do? Went on his little press conference tour. Had no problem talking to the media then, but as soon as things started going bad, just throw Jay out there, let him talk.
Yeah,
nowhere to be found.
They wanna be able to fire you in point blank.
It's like I've been saying, they want to be the reason why we win, but when it's the reason why we lose, it's no, it's not our fault. It's your fault.
Exactly. They want to be the reason why they win, meaning Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder, but they don't want to be the reason why they lose. I.e., great example, RG3.
Yep.
Wanted to point blame at Jay Gruden, wanted to point blame at Mike Shanahan, said you guys aren't doing what needs to be done with RG3. Instead of the fact that RG3 needed to shut up and get better.
Yep.
That's factual. That needed to happen. That didn't happen. He's finally done it in Baltimore, thank God, when he does have an owner sucking his dick every day.
Exactly.
But the fact is, Dan Snyder ruins his team with these types of moves by going with a player over a coach. There is no structure. Let's say you're at work and you're able to jump your boss and go to his boss and talk shit about him, what he's doing wrong, and they are going to make a decision on your boss based on what you said, that's a recipe for disaster.
Without a doubt.
And that's exactly the kind of environment, the kind of system that goes on there at Redskins Park. If you continue to ask yourself, how come the Redskins cannot get over this hump? It's because of that single reason alone. There is a reason why the Nationals are going into the World Series. There's a reason why Nationals have such good cohesion on the team. It's because ownership took a damn step back and let Mike Rizzo do his job, what they pay him to do. I'm tired of this team. I'm tired of Dan. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of Bruce sitting here blaming everyone under the sun but them.
Yep.
They're the only ones.
At the end of the day, it's really sad that the two longest tenured teams in DC, the Wizards and the Skins, cannot get anything right, can't get their shit together. But the newly acquired DC Valor, the Mystics, which they're not really like new, babe. They're newish. Mm-hmm. The Mystics, DC Valor, DC United is making the playoffs consistently now. The Capitals obviously won the Stanley Cup. Now the Nationals they've been a playoff team.
Yeah.
Now they're going to the World Series. It's just like, you should be like, what are they doing right? Let's bring this over to our organization. Make some strides, not take some strides back every single year. It's like, come on, man.
And it's sooner or later. I mean, look, you guys can joke all you want. You can call me a moron. You can call me the R word. I don't give a crap. But the fact is, if Trump were to buy the Redskins, They would be.
Was that a real thing?
No, I don't think so. It was a fake thing.
I
But
was
the
wondering,
fact is, if Trump were to buy the Redskins in 5 years, I can guarantee you they have a Super Bowl. I can guarantee you that right now. I don't care what you say, political affiliation, whatever. Trump would do a much better job owning the Redskins than Dan Snyder. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
Look, you can argue with me all day long, but Dan Snyder is an inept human being. He's a great businessman, horrible person, and even a worse owner of a football team.
Yep.
I don't understand as a fan base. I know it sucks because you want to be loyal. You want to stick with it, but at some point, if someone continues to spit in your face and flick you off every time you try to explain why you don't like what they're doing, maybe you shouldn't be hanging around them anymore.
And at the end of the day, obviously, we all know Dan's not going anywhere. He's going to own the team till he's 70, 80, whatever years old, unless something crazy happens, he decides to own the team, which I don't ever see it happening. But, so it's like, all right, so where do we go from here? Well, the next person in line is Bruce Allen. He's been here for 10 years, and I think by far he has the worst record of any GM of all 32 NFL teams of a 10-year stretch. But you continue to empower him and make decisions, let him do what he wants. You would think that by now, like, you hear all the fire Bruce, get rid of Bruce, blah, blah, blah. You would think Dan Snyder would be like, you know what? It's been 10 years. You haven't got it done. I should probably let him go. But no, I don't know why.
I really do believe it has to do with Bruce Allen being Dan Snyder's bulletproof vest. And that being said, that if whatever goes wrong, everyone's going to blame Bruce instead of Dan. So if Dan were to fire Bruce and shit went awry, they are not going to fry up Doug Williams, the first ever African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl for the Redskins. They're not going to go after Eric Schaefer and Kyle Smith. The first person,
building the team through the draft.
The first person we're all going to go at, because it's the one common denominator over all these years, is Dan Snyder.
Yeah, and you said it best. If he gets rid of Bruce, who in that building is going to be on Dan Snyder's side? Everyone's going to look at him like, you still owe this team. Why? Like, no one likes you. Why are you still here? So, you're right. He's a bulletproof vest.
He really is.
He's the puppet. Dan Snyder's the puppeteer, and he's a little old puppet pulling the strings. Yep. Like, man, go talk.
We're giving all the full authority to Scott McCloughan. We're giving full authority to Mike Shanahan. We're giving full authority to Jay Gruden.
We're going to give full authority to Mike Tomlin if we trade a first-round pick for him.
No, they're not. First
of all, don't trade a first-round pick for Mike Tomlin.
If full authority to Mike Tomlin means he's giving Mike Tomlin the full authority to do what he wants.
Look, if Mike Tomlin can get AB and Lev Bell to DC, then cool. Hire him, give him full control. But that ain't happening, so no.
No, Mike Tomlin has never been in full authority of the Steelers, of being a head coach. He's never been the guy to bring the players in and do everything involved with that. So why you would think that Mike Tomlin would excel with this is asinine to me. His secondary in Pittsburgh has taken steps back every single year since he's been there.
And they bring in prospect after prospect, free agent after free agent, top-tier free agents too, and they just don't produce.
That's that's like John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh going to Baltimore after being a special teams coordinator and special teams sucking.
Yeah,
like, that's
what
you have one job.
Right.
you have one. That's one thing that you do. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And look, I understand Mike Tomlin would obviously change his team for the better with confidence and with a structured environment. But the fact being is, it scares the shit out of me to give him full authority.
Will he do that though? Because you saw what happened in Pittsburgh. He let Lev Bell do whatever he wanted. Let AB do whatever he wanted. Clearly, let Ben do whatever he wants.
So that was what I guess the problem was, that he let Ben do whatever he wanted, but would like to give shit to Antonio Brown when he recorded his speech about the Patriots.
It's like, who's gonna say the top tier talent, the quarterback? He's gonna come here and be like, you can say whatever you want, but you guys better fall in line. Like, no one's gonna respect that.
Well, it's funny because Mike Tomlin's personality with players reminds me a lot of Jay Gruden.
Yeah,
he lets them be adults.
A little bit more edge to it, but yeah.
He lets them be adults. Mike Tomlin has that kind of like edge, like a bulldog kind of thing. Jay Gruden's more like a golden retriever, I guess you could say, if that makes any sense. Yeah. But the fact is, they both have the same kind of mindset. You're grown men. I don't need to micromanage you. I don't need to yell at you like you're in high school or in 2 days. Do your thing. I'm gonna expect the most out of you. If you don't, I'm gonna pull the plug.
It goes back to accountability. If you listen to any of his interviews, he always says, I'm gonna hold people accountable. I gotta hold people accountable. I hold myself accountable. Blah blah blah. It's all about accountability in this business, in this game. And clearly, the Redskins, over the past 20 years, no one's been accountable. Clearly not Dan. Over the past 10 years, clearly not Bruce.
The only reason why Dan and Bruce want to give Mike Tomlin full authority is so when they do that, they have someone to fire.
Exactly. It won't be Dan and Bruce. It won't be Bruce taking the bullets for Dan. It'll be Mike Tomlin taking the bullets for Bruce and taking the bullets for Dan.
And we're going to be right back in this perpetual cycle that we go through every 4 goddamn years with this team, where they tell us we're giving full authority. Next year we see something, oh, that's kind of weird. That doesn't sound like it's full authority. A year after that, it actually sounds like he might not have full authority. Year after that, he gets fired. Yeah, I didn't have any authority at all.
Or it's the Marty Schottenheimer thing where we're going to give you full authority, and he actually has full authority, starts making a change, and they're just like, we don't like that change. Get out of here. Bye.
And it's asinine, the fact that we're still here.
So you want the culture to change. You want to give someone full authority, but once they start making a change, because you're not getting credit for it, you got to let that person go.
Oh, no, that's without a doubt that is what is going on here. Anytime you hear any pundit nationally come out and say, I don't think Dan Snyder is as involved as everyone thinks he does, I think Dan Snyder deserves more credit than he does, is only trying to get a job.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because that is literally Dan Snyder talking to you.
Yeah.
Dan Snyder wants to be acknowledged. He wants to be known, hey, you were the fan that took over and made us better.
He wants to literally be Jerry Jones.
He wants to be Jerry Jones. That's what he wants to be, but he doesn't talk to the media. And I loved how Bruce said that in his press conference. Dan makes himself available time to time.
Since when?
When I'm dead?
Right.
What?
I've never seen that man ever do an interview with any reporter ever. Ever. And I've been a Redskins fan my whole goddamn life. He's on the team for 20 years. I've never seen him talk to the media once. Not once.
And that is without scripted questions, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just full-fledged, we're coming at you with everything we have, because he knows what's happening. The worst part about all of this, Mike, is the fact that when Dan Snyder took over this team, talked about how he was a fan, he did this for him and his dad. They watched games together with the Redskins winning. But when he gets here, he completely forgets about the fans and says, no, it's all about me. I own this team. It doesn't matter what you guys think. And it's amazing because you're ruining us. You're like, you are the single reason why the fan base is being ripped apart at the seams. You're the reason why there was a half a fan base that wanted RG3 to stay, and the other half of the fan base was saying, no, Kirk Cousins is the better quarterback. Yep. Literally, it started a racial divide in our fan base because you love to suck his dick. You need to step away. You obviously need to go on vacation during the Redskins football season and not be at the stadium, not be anywhere close, because every time you touch something with this team, it implodes.
Yep.
Please get the hell away from us. Please. I mean, my sanity is asking you to please let me go.
See, I was just like, man, I would love to see a Nationals World Series in my lifetime, and it's happened. It's really, really sad to say that, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I'm ever going to see this team make it to the Super Bowl.
But it scares the shit out of me to think that I'm going to be 70 years old and Dan Snyder's still going to own this team.
Yeah.
That scares the hell out of me. It really does, because literally all you can look forward to is what the past has given you. And that's ineptitude, embarrassment, misery, depression. And it's a constant treadmill. Every 4 years we go to this with this goddamn
What's the definition of insanity?
I just
doing the same thing over and goddamn.
I wish the NFL would step in at some point. This would never happen, but obviously, I wish the NFL would step in and be like, dude, you were literally ruining one of the oldest and loyal fan bases, one of the biggest markets in the country. You are ruining that market. You're ruining that fan base. We have to walk away from you. You're ruining the league. You're ruining one of our biggest venue or avenues for money. They're completely screwing. He's screwing the pooch. I just wish that was possible.
Yep.
Or he'd say something racist, or I hate to say this, but rape somebody or something. I just wish that sucks to say. I would never wish that upon somebody. I'm just saying, dude, separate us from this guy.
Some type of scandal, man. Some type of scandal. Damn.
Separate.
Let him get caught with a prostitute or something. Damn. Go to K Street. Come on, do something.
Please go to K Street. Dude, we should go to K Street and send somebody over there.
Oh, shit.
We should. I also told Mike Reed, I told him I'd put him up in a wig and go send him down there to see where we can work something out. But the fact being is, this weekend, the Redskins are facing the 5-0 San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan, obviously with the way that everything really decimated here in D.C. with him and his father, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder against this Redskins team. And I think this is going to be a beatdown. I think that they're going to be able to do whatever the hell they want. I really liked what I saw out of the Redskins team last week. They showed a lot of promise. This is what they were supposed to look like.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins, the worst team in the league, obviously. But the fact being is, I liked the progression. I felt like they were actually moving somewhere. But Kyle Shanahan, the genius that he is offensively, he's going to pick apart Minuski, and he's going to prove a point by putting up 50 on the Redskins.
Yeah, he's going to pretty much James Franklin us like he does to Maryland every time he comes here. Just, I'm going to run up the score, and there's nothing you can do about it. Sorry.
I want the Redskins to win. I need the Redskins to win. But the fact being is, I'm not going to be angry at the Redskins if they lose this game. I'm going to be angry at Dan because he's the reason why they lost this game this weekend.
This
because
is like
of how we
one
treated
of
Kyle
those
Shanahan.
games where like the Redskins just randomly win because obviously the 49ers are 5-0. They're due for a slip up somewhere along the line.
We also did say that against Chicago.
Yeah, that is very true actually.
And literally,
Yeah,
we
Mr.
looked,
just pooped on
dude,
us,
the microcosm of what the Redskins season
Giants,
is the Jay Gruden's fucking the picture of Jay Gruden with his headset wrapped around his hat right here, his glasses down, disheveled. He just looked like, God, just get me out of here. That's the Redskins season in a nutshell. I mean, that's what it is. And hopefully Jonathan Allen can get this team under his reins. Darius Geitz comes back in a couple weeks. I would love to see them steal this from the 49ers. But we talked about this. The 49ers are the best front defensive four in the NFL. They create more pressure, more QB hits, more sacks with only rushing 4 or less people than any other team in the league right now. They don't even have to blitz, which means they're going to have, 7 in coverage at all times.
Sitting back in zone, just waiting to pick anything off. So.
That's going to be hard for the Redskins to move the ball this weekend. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Case Keenum call out on Sunday.
Oh, man. I was just thinking, I was like, damn, what if something happened to Case or like we're getting blown out, they put Dwayne in there? The worst case scenario will be to put Dwayne Haskins.
He gets hurt.
Not even just that. Put him in against his defensive front and just make him look even more inept than he did against the Giants. Like, just more and more piling on Dwayne for no reason.
Yeah, the more we can make this even more depressing if you want, guys. But one being that Jordan Reed put his house up for sale in Virginia. They put him on IR, which means
that man done. He going back down to Florida. He's gonna.
Jordan Reed's done, and I like Jordan Reed a lot. I give a lot of credit to him for a lot of great seasons.
Which is why they're probably gonna with the Trent Williams trade bring in Njoku to replace him.
I really hope not.
But I mean, look, I wouldn't be mad if Njoku came here, but you got to have at least like a first rounder attached with Njoku.
The fact, the whole reason this whole season I've been talking about, the reason the Redskins weren't going to trade for a draft pick because they needed help now. Mm-hmm. Well, they've waited so long that actually no, they need the draft pick now, and be able to get 2 first-round picks on top of having a top 5 pick with that would be huge for the Redskins because they're obviously going to need it. There's a guy down there, Andrew, I forget his name, Andrew Thomas, I think his name is, the left tackle, who is going to be the best lineman in this draft. I think the Redskins should go ahead and go snap him up real quick.
Yep.
It's depressing.
It really is, but I mean...
And to make it even more depressing for you, I'm sorry, on top of Jordan Reed going to be retiring, Dwayne Haskins, you have to think about the rookie quarterbacks that are excelling right now around the league. Yeah, Kyle Allen.
Undrafted.
Gardner Minshew.
6th-rounder.
Kyler Murray.
Well, first pick.
Pick, but that 14 pick difference.
Exactly.
And Dwayne Haskins isn't ready to see the
Daniel
field.
Jones.
And that was Dan Snyder's pick, by the way. And they made sure everyone knew that. Don't forget that, Redskins fans. That day, news reports were flying around ESPN. They were going to Diana Rossini. They were flying around Redskins Park. Dan Snyder wants Dwayne Haskins. He's going to take him. Not everyone in the building wants him, but Dan's going to get him. What does that tell you?
Even just Jake in the interview yesterday with Stu Gatz and Dan Lemitard said, yeah, there was a lot of opinions on Dwayne Haskins. A couple of coaches wanted to take him there. A couple of us wanted to wait and get a quarterback later in the later rounds, a.k.a. like a Ryan Finley or
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen or Gardner Minshew type player. But obviously, when the owner says pick that guy, you ain't got no damn choice but to pick that guy. Well, you have a choice, but if you want to keep your job, you got to pick that guy. And here we are, week 7.
Well, the funniest part about that, Mike, is...
And he still ain't seen the field except for some
funniest part about it is Dan Snyder needed everyone to know he was the one that drafted Dwayne Haskins.
Just like with the whole RG3 thing.
He needed everyone to know that he was the one that pulled that trigger. And now it looks like Dwayne was literally the worst pick in the draft for the Redskins thus far, which was their first pick.
Yep.
Was their worst pick that they have chose. Wes Martin's seen the field. He's actually played pretty well. Jimmy Moreland hasn't seen the field that much, but he has a lot of promise, has done more than Dwayne has. Then look at Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat has produced just a little bit. And then Terry McLaurin. I can't talk enough about Terry McLaurin.
He's going to be the staple and the cornerstone of this franchise going forward for the next, hopefully,
But
10
the fact
years.
being is, the one pick that Dan Snyder got was the highest value pick that we had, and he botched it. He needed everyone to know that he was the one that did it. He was the one that did it. Don't forget that, Redskins fans. Make sure you remember that it was Dan Snyder who put this in this hole.
It's just like the whole RG3 thing. RG3 came out, had the whole Heisman race, was like killing it in college. I want that guy. I'm going to pick him. What did we do? Trade away all them draft picks, move up. And it worked out for the first rookie season. Obviously, not going forward after that. Same exact thing here. He saw Dwayne Haskins. Oh, my God. He went to high school with my son, and he threw 50 touchdowns, even though he's only played 14 games total in college. And I'm going to pick him. We're going to have the same rookie season.
Dwayne Haskins is my spirit animal.
Yeah, like, he just saw, like, a whole RG3 scenario playing out where I'm going to pick him, and I'm going to be the reason why we're doing good. And, yeah, it's going to be all me.
So when Dwayne Haskins does really well, everyone's going to know he was my guy.
Well,
I went and got him.
How's that working out for you, Dan? How's that working out? Because you got your coach fired. You got Dwayne Haskins looking on the sideline looking stupid, just staring off in space like...
Yeah, Dan Snyder hates looking stupid, but he's so goddamn good at it. It's amazing. He's better at looking dumb than he is at making money. It's amazing. They literally ineptitude. The fact that someone in that building can't look at him and say, dude, stop touching shit. You know how Rumpelstiltskin, every time he touched something, it turned to gold or whatever it is? I'm not sure if it was him, but Dan Snyder's a complete opposite. Everything he touches turns to shit.
Turns to straight poo-poo.
Stop touching things. Go away. Go play with your race car. Stop. Let adults talk. Good Lord. Go on your yacht, dude. Go on your yacht.
You paid all that money for the yacht. Go stay on it for a couple months, man. Like, damn.
Dude, I will pay for you and Dwayne to go hang out in the yacht together for a whole week. You can suck him off as much as you want.
Look, I hope Dwayne pans out. I really hope he does because he's a great quarterback in college. He has all the potential. It's just...
The Redskins need, if they don't have, literally, the difference between this year and the other years is that the Redskins actually have hope. Yeah. They have hope for the future. They have young core. They have a young quarterback that could possibly see the field later on in the future. If Dwayne Haskins ends up being a complete blow up and not being able to be a pro,
another setback of another 3-4 year setback.
Another first round. That's 4 first round picks that we have used that have turned into one playoff season that without a win.
That's all I can do is shake my head.
Think about that, guys. All right, on that depressive note. But on a serious note, though, the Redskins they're on the uptick. I like Bill Callahan trying to change up the practice because obviously a change needed to happen, and just moving the head coach wasn't going to be enough for it. There needed to be a culture change. I think he is right about that. You have to be very strict at this point because it's been too lax. Yeah. You've given these guys too much a benefit of the doubt that they were going to do something right. They can't. They showed that to you. Start being strict. Make them work hard. Yeah. Make them win football games. And I'm glad that they're on this uptick. And Terry McLaurin, keep doing your thing, man.
Like I said, you're the only bright spot at this point outside of on the offense at least. You're the only bright spot. Keep doing your thing. You're on pace for 80 catches, 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, which obviously is not going to happen.
Right.
But when is the last time a Redskins receiver has been relevant?
Right. So, you know that Terry McLaurin has more touchdowns than any receiver since Randy Moss came into when he was a rookie.
Think about that, people.
Yeah, that is a glaring and exciting stat to hear. Just hopefully we don't ruin it with Dwayne.
I mean, look, if we can build around Darius Geis and McLaurin going forward, we might have something.
Geis has got to stay healthy. Yeah. My goodness, dude. He just is a welcome mat for injuries. Yeah. My goodness. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys. We are actually going to be uploading some clips. I actually found the videos of us talking about the Nats during their struggles, and we're going to upload it by themselves later on.
Don't call us fortune tellers, but I'm just saying.
We're going to upload it later on. We're going to let you guys see it. Please like and share the page, guys. We're having fun here.
Yeah, DC Sports, we're on the uprise.
Come experience this with us. We want to experience it with you. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I'm Kyle.
I'm Mike.
Redskins football, woo!
Nats baseball, woo!